AITA for cutting off my sister after she blamed me for ruining her marriage? My sister's marriage didn't collapse overnight. It collapsed inside my hands while I was the idiot holding up the walls for her. For 2 years, I covered her gambling, lied for her, paid her bills, and protected her from the truth until her husband showed up at my door looking like he'd aged a decade and asked me one question that ripped my entire family open. How long have you known? And the moment I finally stopped lying, I'm 29F, and my older sister, Liana, 32F, has moved back into our parents' orbit after her husband finally walked out and filed for divorce. They'd been together 7 years, married for 4. No kids, which feels like the only small mercy in this mess, because everything else is destruction, lies, and people rewriting history in real time. Everyone in my family keeps saying it was sudden. It wasn't, not even close. For the last 2 years, Liana has been deep into online gambling. At first, it was just for fun, little bets here and there, bragging about small wins in the group chat and posting screenshots like she was some genius. Then the screenshots stopped. Then the call started. Late, crying, slurring her words because she'd been up for 30+ hours chasing losses, asking to borrow just a little. First it was gas money, then groceries, then her rent, then her car insurance. Then it was, I swear this is the last time. And the worst part? I paid. More than once. I sent money, covered bills, Venmo'd her without even responding because I didn't want to hear the excuses anymore. I told myself I was being a good sister. I told myself I was preventing something worse. I told myself a lot of lies. She'd disappear for hours, sometimes overnight. When I finally cornered her about it months ago, she admitted she was driving to casinos that were hours away, sitting in parking lots on her phone when she ran out of money, taking cash advances and praying for a big win that never came. Completely hollowed out by it, but still defending it like it was a phase. And yes, this is the part one hate admitting. She asked me to lie for her husband multiple times. Just say I'm with you. Say we're having a girls' night. Say I slept on your couch and my phone died. I said it. I covered for her. Over and over. I don't even know why. Fear, habit, guilt, some stupid sense of loyalty. I knew it was wrong, and I still did it. Then last weekend, her husband showed up at my door. Not yelling, not furious, just wrecked, pale, empty eyes. The kind of tired that goes past physical and into your bones. He sat on my couch and just started talking. No drama, no insults, just facts. Overdrafts in the thousands. Secret credit cards in his name. Loans she took out pretending to be him. Entire paychecks disappearing. He asked me, quietly, how long have you known? And I felt sick, because I suddenly realized that by helping her, by lying for her, I didn't just protect her. I helped destroy their marriage too. I stopped covering that day. Completely. No more money. No more pretending. No more lies. And somehow, that made me the villain. My mom showed up at my door without warning. Eyes red, voice shaking with anger, mascara running like something out of a bad movie. She didn't even say hi. She launched straight into it like she'd been rehearsing. How could you do this to your own sister? I just stared at her and asked, do what? Turn your back on her when she needs help the most. You think you're better than her, don't you? She snapped. If you had just kept supporting her, her husband wouldn't have left. I told her, supporting her is what got her here. She lost it. She started yelling that I was cold, selfish, heartless, that I was jealous of Liana, that I always had some secret resentment, that I wanted her to fail. She said I chose to play judge instead of being family. When I tried to explain the gambling, the debts, the lying, she screamed over me. So what? People make mistakes. You don't throw them away. I yelled back. Actually yelled, like full voice shaking, no filter left. I didn't throw her away. She threw herself into a fire, and I'm tired of getting burned with her. She pointed in my face and called me a traitor. A traitor for telling the truth. I laughed, a bitter, ugly laugh, and told her, if telling the truth makes me a traitor, maybe you should ask yourself why you're so comfortable living in lies. That set her off even more. She started name-calling, saying I was disgusting, ungrateful, selfish, and mentally unstable. She actually asked me if I was on drugs too. I told her, no, but apparently in this family you don't need drugs to lose your damn mind. She tried to turn it into this whole, you've always hated your sister narrative. And that's when she said the one thing that ruined any chance of fixing it. You've always hated your sister. This just proves it. I felt something in me go ice cold. I opened the door and told her, get out. She refused at first. Went on another rant about how I was abandoning family, how I was just like my father, who she divorced years ago but loves dragging up whenever she wants to hurt someone. I told her again to leave. Louder. When she still didn't move, I screamed it so hard my throat hurt. Get out. Now. That finally did it. She left, but not before telling me I'd regret this for the rest of my life. Now she's been telling anyone who will listen that I turned my back on my own blood when she needed me most. She left out the gambling, the lies, the debts, the forgery. Of course she did. My phone has been nonstop since. Aunts, she's your sister. You only get one. Cousins, you're being way too harsh. Family friends I haven't spoken to in in years. Your mother is heartbroken. And I didn't stay quiet. I snapped back at everyone who tried to guilt me. I told one aunt, if she's so worried, she can hand over her bank account and fund the next 2 years of Liana's addiction. I told a cousin to mind his business because he still lives off his parents and has zero authority to lecture me about responsibility. When one family friend said, but she's family, I replied, so is cancer. Doesn't mean I have to let it spread. Some of them were shocked. Some of them got mad. I don't care. I'm done filtering myself to make liars comfortable. Yesterday, I blocked my mom completely. Phone, socials, everything. Liana hasn't even spoken to me directly. Not one apology. Not one explanation. Nothing. Just silence while everyone else fights her battle for her. And I'm sitting here feeling angry, relieved, hurt, numb, and furious all at the same time. So yeah, that's where I am. Update 1. I had reached into the middle of my entire family and yanked a cord that had been plugged in for decades. The silence afterward was so loud it rang in my ears. I kept expecting my phone to buzz again. Another cousin, another family friend, another fake concerned message pretending to check in while really checking where to aim their next accusation. And then Liana showed up. No warning. No can we talk text. No apology message sliding onto my screen first. Just a quiet knock on my door, the kind that doesn't sound like confidence. It sounds like surrender. When I opened it, I almost didn't recognize her. Her eyes were glassy, swollen, exhausted. Mascara streaked down her face in thin black lines, like she had been crying forever and finally just gave up trying to fix it. She wasn't standing the way she used to, all high and mighty, chin lifted. Her shoulders were folded inward, like she was trying to make herself smaller. She didn't even attempt to smile. She didn't ask how I was. She just looked at me and whispered, voice breaking in half, I think I ruined my own life. Something in my chest cracked open, sharp and painful. For 2 straight years I had been so angry at her. Angry for the lies. Angry for the way she dragged me into it. Angry for the late night phone calls, the fake emergencies, the trembling pleas in her voice when she needed another lie done for her. Angry for how I let her get away with it for so long. Angry at myself most of all. And now here she was, looking like a ghost of herself, and that anger didn't even know where to go anymore. I moved out of the doorway so she could come in. She stepped inside like she was afraid the floor might reject her too. She just stood there for a second, staring down at her hands, and then everything poured out of her like a broken dam. The gambling didn't start as this big, chaotic demon the way people imagine it. It started small. It started stupid. It started during lunch breaks with coworkers, messing around on her phone, laughing when she won $10, shrugging when she lost 20. It started as a joke. Then the joke became a routine. The routine became a secret. The secret became a double life. She told me that the first time she took money out of the joint account and didn't tell her husband, she felt sick to her stomach, and then she went back and did it again the next week, and the week after that. And after a while the sickness vanished, and all that was left was panic and the rush of hoping she'd win it back before anyone noticed. She said the nights she told him she was with me were the worst ones, because she wasn't just lying to him anymore. She was burning my name into her addiction too. She said every time she texted me, I'm so sorry, it wasn't for the money. It was because she knew she was making me a shield for her mess. And while she was telling me all of this, guess who decided to blow up my phone? My mother. Over and over. Ringing, texting, voice messages piling up. Angry, dramatic, furious beyond reason. I read one of her texts out loud without even looking up. If she is crying to you again, do not fall for it. You've already done enough damage. Liana flinched like she had been slapped. She told you that? She whispered, horrified. Oh, she told everyone that. I snapped. Apparently, I'm the villain of the century now. You didn't ruin anything. I did. I apparently waved a magic wand and destroyed your marriage on purpose. Liana shook her head immediately, eyes filling up all over again. She's lying, she said, more forcefully than I'd heard her speak in years. I know she's lying. I know you didn't do this. I did. I made the choices. I clicked the buttons. I took the money. I signed the papers without telling him. Nobody forced me. The knot in my stomach tightened. But she won't stop, I said. She's calling people, texting people, spinning some fairy tale where I'm some heartless monster who abandoned her poor, fragile daughter. Right on cue, another text lit the screen. You've always resented your sister. This is proof. I absolutely lost it. Resented her? I yelled out loud to an empty room. I gave her money. I lied for her. I covered for her. I risked my own relationship with her husband, so she didn't have to face consequences. Resentment would have been way easier. You delusional woman. Liana flinched again, but this time she didn't look scared of me. She looked scared of the truth. Then my aunt decided to try her luck. What kind of sister exposes her own blood like that? Texted onto my screen. I typed back so hard hard my thumbs hurt. The kind that got tired of being used as a walking lie machine for your favorite daughter. The phone kept buzzing. Cousins, family friends, people I barely speak to suddenly had passionate opinions about my life. You broke her when she needed you. You're so cold, honestly. You always were jealous of her. That one set me off again. Jealous, I snapped, talking aloud while typing. Of what? Her addiction? Her debt? Her broken marriage? Take it. It's all yours if you want it so bad. Liana sat there, hearing every word. Tears falling again, but she didn't defend them. She didn't make excuses for them. She just listened. She just absorbed everything like she finally understood the monster she had helped feed. Then she did something that I was not prepared for. She grabbed her phone, opened our family group chat, and sent a voice message herself. Her voice was raw, shaking, real. I ruined my marriage. Not my sister. I lied. I stole. I hid. I asked her to cover for me, and she should have never had to. If you want a villain, it's me. Stop blaming her. I already destroyed enough. After that message, the chat went silent. No hearts, no scene, no apologies, just heavy digital quiet. She locked her phone and set it face down like she was done fighting with ghosts. Then she looked at me again, eyes red, voice barely holding together. Can I stay here? Just for a few days. I don't trust myself to be alone right now. I stared at her for a long time. Part of me wanted to say no, to draw the hardest boundary imaginable, to protect myself, to protect my space, to not let the hurricane back into the house I had only just managed to rebuild. But another part of me saw the version of her I hadn't seen in years. Not the manipulator, not the gambler, not the liar. Just my sister. Broken, sober, terrified of what she destroyed. If you lie to me again, even once, I said slowly. I won't, she swore, voice cracking again. On anything. Ever again. I nodded once. Then you can stay. Temporarily. And this time, you deal with the consequences instead of running from them. Outside my door, the world still thinks I'm the villain. Update 2: I haven't heard my mother's voice in 7 days. Not one call. Not one voice note. Not even her fake "Are you alive?" text she's so fond of sending when she wants attention. But don't worry, she's been very active. Just not with me. She's been active with the entire internet. Our family, mutual friends, old neighbors, her co-workers, and apparently even people I haven't seen since I was a literal child. Every single day, she's posting. Vague, dramatic, poisonous, carefully worded to make her look like the victim without saying my name. Some people will pretend to care for years just so they can look like the hero while destroying the family from the inside. Nothing hurts more than a child who turns on the very people who gave them life. It's scary when someone you raised becomes cold and power hungry. Be careful who you trust, even if they share your blood. The comments were worse. Ungrateful kids are the worst. Some people should never have been born into good families. You don't abandon your own like that. I'd disown someone like that. I don't care how old they are. I was tagged indirectly in screenshots, side group chats, concern messages, and then there were the DMs. One cousin I haven't even spoken to in years messaged me. Honestly, you've always given me weird vibes. You think you're better than everyone. Another said, I always knew you'd do something like this. You were the problem growing up. Someone else straight up wrote, you're disgusting for what you're doing. I hope karma destroys you. I just stared at my phone for a few minutes, watching the notifications roll in like machine gun fire. Every 10 seconds, every platform, every corner of the internet suddenly had an opinion about me, my life, my choices, and not a single one of them bothered to ask me what really happened. Then my sibling, the one my mother claims I'm controlling, saw the posts. They completely spiraled. They kept pacing, repeating, this is my fault. I ruined everything. I'm poisoned. I shouldn't even be here. They started crying so hard they couldn't breathe. Their hands were shaking so badly they dropped a glass. It shattered on the floor, and they didn't even notice. They just kept whispering, I wrecked your life. I should just go. I should leave you alone forever. That's the moment something in me snapped completely. I opened one of my mother's posts. It had over 200 likes and a comment storm of people tearing me apart without saying my name. My hands were literally shaking as I typed. All I said was, you raised both of us. So if you're looking for someone to blame, start by looking in the mirror. Nothing else. No name calling. No details. Just the truth. She deleted it within minutes. Then my phone lit up. Her private message came in like a bomb. You disrespectful little monster. After everything I sacrificed for you, this is how you repay me? You are sick. You are obsessed with control. You've brainwashed your own sibling against your own mother. You should be ashamed to even breathe. I didn't even think. I just went off. I said, you are delusional. You don't know the first thing about sacrifice. You know guilt, manipulation, and emotional blackmail. That's your only language. You sit online pretending to be a saint while turning your own child into a villain. You are the problem. You always have been. She replied instantly, if you don't kick them out tonight, do not ever speak to me again. I read that sentence about 20 times, over and over, like it might change, like it might soften, like maybe I hallucinated it. And then something in me just went ice cold. I typed, you don't get to make demands in a life you ruined. Then I blocked her. Immediately after, all hell broke loose. My phone started ringing ringing nonstop. Aunt, uncle, old family friends, numbers I didn't even recognize. One voice message said, "How dare you speak to your mother like that? You arrogant piece of flick." Blocked. Another call came through screaming the second I picked up. "You think you're somebody now? You think you're above everyone?" I screamed back, "I think I'm above being your target. Go find a different villain." Click. Someone else messaged, "You're a narcissist. Everything is about you. You destroyed her." I responded, "Good. Maybe now she'll finally shut up for once in her life." Not proud of that one, but I didn't care anymore. I was done being quiet, done being the bigger person, done being the family punching bag. Then my siblings' phones started blowing up too. Messages, "Hope you're happy destroying your mother. You're weak for hiding behind them. You picked the wrong side. You betrayed your blood." They curled up on the floor sobbing again, saying they couldn't take it. And that made me furious all over again. I sent one final message into the family group chat before muting it forever. "You all don't care about truth. You care about gossip. You don't care about health. You care about blame. You don't care about healing. You care about drama. So congratulations. You got your entertainment. Don't ever contact me again." Chaos. People started typing furiously. Messages flying too fast to read. Voice notes stacking. People defending her. People attacking me. People switching sides every 10 seconds. I didn't read any of it. I turned my phone off. Update 3 the moment I read the text from my aunt. "Let's just have a dinner and clear the air, sweetheart. No drama. Just family." I felt that tight, itchy feeling in my chest. The one I've been living with since all of this started. But against my better judgment, I still went. Part of me still had that stupid, broken hope that someone might finally look at me and see a human being instead of a villain they invented because it made things easier. I walked in and instantly knew I'd walked into a trap. My mother was already sitting there, not on the edge of the room, not hidden away, center of the table, calm, collected, perfect posture, like she was waiting for a performance to begin and she was the main character. Every conversation in the room stopped when I stepped in. Forks froze midair. Someone actually coughed out of nervousness. I swear the air went thick, heavy, suffocating. My aunt smiled too wide and said, "There she is," in that fake sweet voice people only use when they're scared of what you might do. I didn't say anything. I just stood there, staring at my mother. She didn't even look surprised to see me. She looked satisfied. I sat down anyway. Nobody spoke. I could hear the clinking of someone's glass, their hands shaking. My mom didn't look at me. She just looked at the table, looked around the room slowly like a judge preparing to speak. Then she finally said it. She was always the jealous one. Even as a child, the words didn't come out angry. They came out calm, matter of fact, like she was telling some quirky family anecdote. It made my stomach flip. Always competing with her sister. Always trying to be different. Always trying to take attention. She laughed under her breath. This behavior doesn't surprise me at all. A few people shifted uncomfortably. Nobody defended me. So I said, "Are we seriously doing this?" She looked at me then. Her eyes were cold, detached. "Doing what? Telling the truth?" she replied. "Or should I keep pretending you're the hero you've told everyone you are?" That was it. Something in me snapped. Not the crying type of snap. The sharp, clean one. I leaned forward. "You want the truth? I'll give you the truth. I ruined my sleep, my finances, my sanity trying to protect your other daughter while you sat there pretending everything was fine. I lied for her. I covered for her. I picked up every broken piece she dropped. And you still chose to make me the monster because it's easier than admitting you failed her." And tried to jump in. "Let's all calm down." "No," I shot back without even looking at her. "You don't get to play therapist in a mess you helped create." My cousin on the other side of the table muttered, "You're so dramatic," under her breath. I turned to her, so fast the chair scraped. "And you're so hollow. Don't whisper insults if you're too scared to say them out loud." Her face went pale. My mother smirked. "See, this is the real you. Angry, bitter." I laughed. Actually laughed. "No, this is the exhausted version of me you pushed into existence. There's a difference." Someone else, I don't even know who, said, "You think you're better than everyone." I think I'm done being everyone's punching bag. I snapped back. "Huge difference again. Write it down if it's hard for you to keep up." My mother tilted her head. "You talk big for someone who destroyed her own family." That stung, but not in the way she wanted. I stood up slowly. The entire table froze. "You want to blame someone so badly? Fine. Blame me for the lies. Blame me for the secrets. Blame me for the collapse. Blame me for the shame. But do not sit there and pretend I'm the one who built this chaos. I didn't light the fire. I just refused to burn in it with you." My aunt started crying. Actually crying. Like I had slapped her. "Look what you're doing to everyone," she sobbed. "You're breaking this family apart." I looked around the table. Then I said, very quietly but very clearly, "This family was already broken. You just finally noticed when I stopped pretending it wasn't." Silence again. Thick. Deafening. Nobody spoke up for me. But nobody else argued either. So I grabbed my bag and walked out. No dramatic exit. No final speech. church, just the sound of my footsteps and their guilt sitting heavy behind me. Half of them were crying. Half of them were staring at their plates like the answers might be carved into the ceramic. None of them followed me. Update for this morning started quietly. Too quietly. The kind of quiet that sits on your skin and makes you check your phone every 5 minutes even though nothing is happening. The kind of quiet that feels wrong. Liana checked herself into a proper licensed treatment program today. No dramatic scene. No family standing around pretending to be supportive. No group hugs for social media. Just her and her own decision. She didn't ask me to go with her. She didn't need me to hold her hand. And I respected that. I stayed in my car, out of view, watching her walk toward the entrance until the doors closed behind her. She looked smaller than I remembered. Not weak, just stripped of all the chaos that used to cling to her. She turned at the last second and hugged me. Tight. Honest. For the first time, I don't want someone to save me, she whispered. I want to save myself. That was it. That was the moment. More powerful than any apology my mother could ever choke out in her lifetime. More real than anything this family has ever offered me. I thought that would be the end of the drama for the day. I was wrong. A few hours later, my phone lit up with a number I didn't recognize at first. I picked up without thinking. Silence, then breathing, then her voice. My mother. Not angry, not screaming, not accusing. Scared, breathy, as if she was the one in crisis. You don't have to be like this, she said softly. You don't have to do things this way. I felt my jaw tighten automatically. My chest went cold. Do what? I said. She exhaled slowly, as if she had been crying before calling. This decision she's made, people are going to see it as a reflection of me. On the family. Everyone is going to assume I failed. There it was. Not a single is Liana okay? Not how is she feeling? Not is she safe? Just her manipulative, twisted panic over how other people might view her. I said nothing. She kept going. You need to convince her to leave. Early. Once a few days pass and people cool down. We don't want this on paper. I actually thought I misheard. What? I asked. Just for appearances, she continued, like she was asking me to return a borrowed sweater instead of sabotaging someone's recovery. She can still work on things privately. With family. At home. We don't need official records making us look broken. Something in me sparked so hard I felt it at the base of my skull. You want me to pull her out of a legitimate treatment program so you don't look like a bad mother in some imaginary public file? My voice was low. Dangerous. She snapped back immediately. Don't twist my words. I'm thinking about what's best for all of us. No, I said. You're thinking about yourself? Like always. Her voice sharpened. You've become so ungrateful. So hostile. I don't even recognize you anymore. You never did recognize me. I shot back. You only liked the version of me that said yes and stayed quiet while you rewrote reality. She scoffed. You're acting like I'm the enemy. After everything I've done for you. I lost it then. What you've done for me. I laughed. Ugly, bitter. You mean the years of comparison? The guilt trips? The emotional blackmail? The way you turned a blind eye while I was cleaning up your other daughter's messes and then blamed me when the truth came out. People around me started staring. I didn't care. The words were pouring out too fast to stop. You don't get to play the victim now. Not after trying to turn me into the villain of your sad little narrative online. She hissed. Lower your voice. You're embarrassing yourself. No, I snapped louder. You embarrassed yourself the moment you chose reputation over reality. Don't ever call me again asking me to help you hide your guilt. Her tone went ice cold. So that's it. You'd rather destroy this family than protect it? I paused for a second. This family destroyed itself. I just stopped lying about it. She went quiet. Then, before hanging up, she said something that will be burned into my mind forever. But just as sick as she is. Maybe worse. That one landed. Not deep enough to break me, but deep enough to sit there and echo for a while. Later that same day, the messages started again. Cousins I hadn't spoken to in years suddenly became experts on my personality. You're being heartless. You love drama. You could fix this if you wanted to. One person even said, you've always been the problem child. Everyone just ignored it. So I stopped ignoring them too. I typed back, if you really believe that, then you're either blind or stupid. Pick one. Another. Family doesn't abandon family. I fired back. Family doesn't emotionally blackmail family into silence either. But here we are. The angrier they got, the calmer I felt. Like I was finally saying everything that had gotten buried for years under the word peace. By the end of the night, I had blocked more numbers than I could count. My hands were actually shaking, not from fear, but from adrenaline. From finally using my voice instead of swallowing it. The house felt strange. Not peaceful. Not empty. Just still. Update 5. My mom has officially started writing an alternate version of reality and inviting everyone else to live in it with her. According to her, Liana is in Europe finding herself. That's the new story. not in treatment, not in recovery, not sober and painfully rebuilding herself piece by piece. No, in Europe, like this is some inspirational movie, and she just packed up and went on a journey. I found out because one of my distant cousins called me, confused, giggling like they were gossiping about a celebrity. She told me Liana is traveling right now. She said she's visiting museums and healing through art. I just sat there in silence, gripping my phone so hard my fingers actually hurt. Museums? I repeated. Yeah, she even said she sent pictures, but they looked like Google images. That part almost made me laugh. Almost. She is literally faking my sister's existence instead of admitting the truth, that her daughter needed help and went to get it. Instead of being proud of that, instead of supporting it, she is faking an entire life that doesn't exist because the real one is too ugly for her ego. The lie didn't even last long. People started realizing none of it made sense. The stories kept changing. One day Liana was in France. The next day she was bragging that she was somewhere else entirely, in some other inspirational fantasy location she pulled out of her imagination. The lies got so wild that even the family members who usually take her side started backing away. One cousin messaged me quietly. It's like she replaced both of you with imaginary versions that make her feel better. Another flat out said, she's scaring people now. This isn't normal. Word started spreading, and instead of facing it, my mom doubled down. She started saying I was confused and mentally unstable and couldn't be trusted. She told people I created some made-up story in my head because I was jealous that Liana escaped. Escaped? From what? Reality? So I finally snapped, publicly this time. In a group chat that had been silent for weeks, I typed one message: she's not in Europe. She's in recovery. And if you believe a woman willing to erase her own child's suffering just to protect her image, you're as broken as she is. The chat exploded. Some people tried to calm things down. Some came for me hard. How dare you talk about your mother like that? She carried you for 9 months. Without her, you wouldn't even exist. I went fully feral. She carried me, but she never supported me. Carrying a child doesn't make you a parent, and if you think it does, then you are part of the damn problem. A relative I barely even know jumped in. You're so bitter, it's ugly. I replied, I'm not bitter, I'm just not brainwashed. There's a difference. Another one said, she did the best she could. I absolutely lost it. No, she did what was easiest for her, not what was best for us. Stop turning laziness into martyrdom. It's embarrassing. That's when my dad, who hadn't spoken in weeks, joined in. Just one message. You need to stop. You're humiliating the family. That one hit in a different way. Good, I replied. Maybe feeling a little humiliation will wake you up from the delusion she built for you. He hasn't spoken since. In the middle of all this, while my family was burning down in my phone, the only thing keeping me even slightly grounded was the letters. Liana's letters. Real paper. Real handwriting. Real guilt. Real honesty. She writes about the worst nights. About how she doesn't remember driving certain places. About how she found photos on her old phone and didn't recognize the person in them. About how she doesn't trust her own memories yet. She writes my name like it hurts and heals her at the same time. She apologizes in every single letter. I'm sorry for every time I made you lie. I'm sorry for every dollar you spent trying to save me. I'm sorry for the weight I put on your chest. And I save them all. Every page. Every messy line. Every stain where her tears soak the paper. I keep them hidden away because they are the only honest thing that's come from this whole mess. She is 5 weeks sober now. 5 weeks. That may not sound like much to other people, but I know what those 5 weeks mean. I know how hard every hour is. I know how loud the past is for her. And while she is fighting a literal war inside herself, my mother is fighting to keep the fantasy alive instead. Still no apology. Not one. Not a single I was wrong. Not a single I hurt you. Nothing. Just more lies. More victim talk. More twisted rewriting of history. And you know what? That hurts more than her insults ever did. Because at least insults mean she sees me. Ignoring what she's done means she's pretending none of this mattered. And that might be the cruelest thing she's ever done. Update 6. I didn't even want to go to that family gathering. I almost didn't. I sat in my car for a full 15 minutes staring at my steering wheel, telling myself I could still turn around. No one forced me to be there. I don't owe these people anything anymore. But something told me I needed to go. Not for closure. Not for peace. Just to see how far the lies had spread. The moment I walked in, the air changed. You know that feeling when people were just talking and laughing, and then suddenly go quiet the second you enter a room? That. Every conversation dropped into an awkward mumble. Someone even knocked over a glass. My mom wasn't in the main room yet, but her presence still filled the space because half the people there had been coached by her already. I barely made it 3 steps in when one of the older relatives muttered, not even trying to hide it, "Here comes the problem child." I snapped my head in their direction. "Say it louder if you're going to say it at all," I said. "Or are you only brave when you think I won't hear you?" They looked stunned, like they didn't expect me to talk back. I'm done being the quiet one. I'm done letting people rewrite my personality because it fits the story they want to tell. Another cousin, the one who's always felt the need to play mediator, came up and hissed hissed in my ear, "Don't start anything today. Just be civil for once." I actually laughed, out loud, a sharp, bitter sound. Be civil? Funny how no one ever said that to her. Just me. I've been silent for months. Today I'm not. And that's when my mom walked in. She didn't even acknowledge me at first. She greeted people, hugged the one still on her side, smiling that fake, polished smile she keeps for when she wants to look like the victim and the hero at the same time. I watched her, and for a second, she didn't even look like my mother. She looked like an actress playing a role she refused to ever break out of. Finally, she noticed me. Her face went stiff. No warmth, no surprise, just pure irritation. "You're really committed to making everything uncomfortable, aren't you?" she said loudly, making sure everyone around could hear. I stepped closer, not aggressively, just close enough that she couldn't pretend I wasn't there. "You mean like you've been committed to lying about your own children for months?" A few gasps. Someone said my name like it was a warning. She scoffed. "I haven't lied about anything. I've been protecting this family from embarrassment." I felt something in me break at that word. Embarrassment. That's all we ever were to her. A stain on her image. A flaw in her perfect story. "You replaced reality with a fantasy because you're too cowardly to face it." I shot back. "You didn't protect anyone. You erased us and told strangers a bedtime story instead." That's when a couple of the relatives started chiming in, one by one, like a choir of accusations. "You should be grateful. She even still claims you. You always needed to be the center of attention. You're just trying to punish her." I spun around, eyes blazing. "Punish her? For what? Telling the truth? You all sit here eating food she paid for, laughing at the same jokes she wrote for you, and you call me dramatic? None of you even bothered to ask me one single question before you decided I was the villain." One of them raised their voice at me, finger in my face now. "You think you're better than everyone in this room." "No," I snapped back. "I think I'm the only one in this room actually living in reality." The tension exploded. People started talking over one another, voices raised, accusations flying. "Ungrateful, selfish, after everything she did for you." I was yelling now too. I didn't even recognize my own voice. Everything she did for me. Tell me one thing she did that wasn't actually for herself. One. Silence for half a second. Then my mom's sister stood up. She didn't shout. That made it worse. Her voice was steady, clear, slicing straight through the noise. "You raised daughters who needed guidance. Instead, you gave them pressure and perfection. You could hear people breathing. You didn't give them safety. You gave them a script. And when they couldn't follow it anymore, you threw them out of the story." Everyone froze. Even the ones who loved to talk suddenly couldn't form a sentence. My mom went completely still. No denial, no gaslighting, no dramatic breakdown, just a tight, controlled breath. Then she turned around and walked out. That was it. No last words, no glance back, no apology, nothing. The front door closed and the sound of it echoed in the silence she left behind. And in that moment, with everyone still staring at the door she had disappeared through, it hit me harder than anything before. She doesn't love us more than her image. She never did. She loved the idea of perfect children, not the reality of real, hurt, messy, struggling people. And when reality became too loud, she simply walked away again, just in a different way this time. Nobody went after her. Nobody even spoke right away. They just stood there, looking around like they'd just witnessed something they were never meant to see. Update 7. After that family gathering, the one where my mom walked out without a word, something shifted. It wasn't dramatic. The world didn't stop turning. But the noise, the constant background hum of tension, guilt, expectations, manipulation, it just faded. Almost like someone had turned off an old, cracked radio that had been blaring in the corner of my life for years. The first week after was strange. My phone stayed silent. No angry texts. No, "How could you do this to your mother?" messages. No fake concerned relatives trying to squeeze information out of me so they could run back and report it to her. Nothing. Just quiet. And then, slowly, the truth started to replace the lies. People who hadn't spoken to me in months started reaching out. Some of them were awkward. Some didn't even know how to start the conversation. I didn't realize what was really happening. "I'm sorry for believing the wrong person. I should have listened to you instead of the story I was told." I didn't accept every apology. Some felt real. Some felt forced. I kept the ones that mattered and ignored the rest. I'm done collecting people who only care when they're scared of being on the wrong side of history. Here's what actually changed everything though. My mom tried to come back. Not dramatically. No big entrance. No tears. Just a message from a number I had muted but not blocked. "Can we talk?" Just us. For months ago, I would have jumped at that. I would have hoped for change, for closure, for some version of the mother I always wanted to exist. Instead, I stared at the screen and felt nothing. No anger, no sadness, no hope, just done. I didn't reply, and that was the moment I knew I had won. Not because she suffered, not because the family finally saw her for what she was, not because I got some grand apology scene. I won because her words no longer had power over me. Her approval, her opinion, her guilt, none of it mattered anymore. That's the kind of victory nobody warns you about. The quiet one. Around the same time, I got another letter from Liana. It was longer than the others. Her handwriting was steadier, stronger. She wrote about how clear everything feels now. now. How she started helping new girls who come in scared and shaking, the same way she once was. She said she doesn't expect forgiveness for everything, but she's trying to become someone who deserves peace. At the end of the letter she wrote, "I don't need you to save me anymore, but thank you for not giving up on the version of me I couldn't see back then." I cried, not out of pain this time, out of relief. She's winning too. As for the rest of the family, the dynamics shattered. People started seeing the patterns that were always there, but easier to ignore. The ones who treated me like the villain now avoid eye contact. The ones who whispered behind my back are suddenly quiet when I walk in. And the craziest part? They look intimidated. Not because I'm loud, not because I caused a scene, but because I stopped begging to be understood. I stopped explaining myself. I stopped shrinking. I walk into rooms now and people feel it. They feel the difference. They feel that I'm not the same controllable, apologetic version of myself they could talk over and twist. And that makes them uncomfortable. Good. The end. Not the a-hole. Not even in the same zip code as the a-hole. This woman spent years being her sister's secret bank, personal liar, an emotional punching bag, and 3 a.m. crisis hotline, all while watching Liana gamble away her marriage, her money, and her sanity. The moment she finally drew a boundary and said, "I'm done covering for addiction," her mom and the entire Flying Monkey family brigade decided SHE was the villain for refusing to keep lighting herself on fire to keep everyone else warm. Mom's response: fake a whole European vacation for Liana instead of admitting her daughter needed rehab. Because image actual human lives that Opie didn't abandon her sister. She stopped enabling destruction. And now Liana is sober, in real treatment, taking accountability, while the rest of the family is still choking on mom's delusions. Oh yeah, massive, unanimous, capital letters, not the a-hole. Sometimes protecting your peace looks like betrayal to people who only loved you when you were useful. Drop in TA in the comments if you agree. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Got a story to share? Drop it in the comments and let us know which one was your favorite. If you enjoyed this video, you'll definitely want to check out AITA for going no contact after my dad told my kid I never wanted him. Click here to watch it now.